In today's episode, I am going to be talking about the major plate. The major plate is the very center of the known world in the world machine. It's a massive gear which sits in the very middle of the top. It has teeth at the edges and a small lip next to those teeth to contain the water, the oceans, and the terrain which populates the major plate. So the major plate is basically the center of all known civilization and known life, because traveling outside this gear is just very difficult because of the need to transition across other spokes and elemental areas in order to reach the periphery. So basically, most of the lore of the world is contained on the major plate. At the center of the major plate is a huge spire. This is the spire that is central to the revolutions of the major plate, and it's immensely tall, and it's a landmark for the entire known world. The major plate is broken into three main areas. We have the heartlands, the crownlands, and the borderlands. So the heartlands are, of course, at the very center of the major plate. They're probably the best political and strategic position to have in terms of land and nations. But unfortunately, the weather in this region is rather bland. The seasons are not very pronounced, and for that reason, it's basically less arable and has poorer weather than in other nations. Across the heartlands, there are ruins everywhere, under the seas, on top of the land, and there's a lot of evidence of ancient civilizations that came before and fell, or were built over, or just basically evidence to suggest that it's been around a very long time. Now, in recent times, because they don't have such a great sort of abundancy of food and arable land, most of the nations and city-states in the heartlands have banded together and become part of a treaty of city-states, which is called Treaty of the Paradigms. And that's how they protect themselves from the aggressions of other superpower nations. The superpower nations inhabit the crownlands. The crownlands are a band which is next one out from the heartlands. And in these areas, the crownlands are wonderful conditions for growing and forests and flora and fauna. They're temperate, they're very fertile, they are more diverse in their types of terrain and weather, and in their altitude as well. So they have a huge range of types of areas that the superpowers can use to their advantage. Of course, the superpowers you may know well are Ostenia, Stoigmar, and Avanos, and these are the big major players in the politics of the world. The last area we're going to talk about, which is on the outside of the major plate, is called the borderlands. Now, the borderlands are very barren. They have very severe weather, and they're inhabited only by sort of nomadic or underdeveloped third world nations. And this is because they are so close to the elemental spokes that the seasonal changes they experience are very, very dramatic and severe. It means that to survive there, you really have to strive and really want to survive. The only places that are populated by civilized people would be mining establishments or trading posts, which can trade with the elemental planes and their denizens as they roll past. The obverse is on the top and the inverse is on the bottom. But today, so major plate is